take on responsibility when you have children. Life is completely different before and after children. The decisions you make, they're not centred on you. And I think that's the same for men and women. You make all kinds of compromises because you have this small person to look after. And then that small person grows, and so do the needs of the family grow, and you get into a situation that you make peace with yourself because you have to. So you stop thinking of what you really want and you begin to project.
I thought, 26 million selling book by 30, small little cottage west of Ireland, riding away, 2 dogs and maybe a donkey. I'm very happy. That was it. That's what I had in mind. So no, it hasn't quite worked out that way. I don't even have a dog.
I think as I've got older, you suddenly realise that there is a difference between... There's a difference between the stuff that you would do regardless of whether anyone paid you and the stuff that you have to do to pay the rent and to put food on the table.
I wanted to be a writer and a war correspondent. I always had a kind of a fascination with seeing war correspondents on telly, and I thought that's really cool, and you're in the middle of the action, and then I realised I don't like blood.
There was a period when I wanted to be a unicorn. Then I spent most of my childhood wanting to be an actress, or a writer, or a spaceman.
When I was a small girl, I was in school with a girl whose dad was a gynecologist. And I think I was about 6, and I thought gynecologist was a great word. Then when I was about 7, I visited my aunt in hospital, and she was quite ill. And when we were getting into the lift, a man came on a stretcher. And between him looking half dead and the smell, I fainted. And when I came to, my mother said, well, it'll be a great doctor you'll be making if you can't stand the smell.
I was a genealogist. I was worked on a market stall selling antiques. Did all kinds of like weird stuff because at that stage I was going to be an actress.
So I enrolled in the Grafton College of Dress Design, but just the weekend before I was supposed to start, I had my first date with my first husband, and I got on the back of his motorbike and we were in an accident. So that whole had to be postponed, and then I never got around to it again.
I'd spent a year kind of travelling around, and I was doing it sporadically. I was writing sporadically, and then I kind of looked at it 6 months later and went, this is all rubbish. So I threw it all out.
I chose Bank of Ireland because I liked the uniform and because I thought banks closed at 3 o'clock in those days, and I thought then that you'd only have to work till 3. So it was a very well-founded choice.
And then the penny drops that if you're going to be an actress, that basically means you're going to be on the dole for 95% of the time, probably. So, yeah, decided to look for other, more sensible routes. There were a group of friends and we just sort of all sat down and said, this is ridiculous, we need to have some plan. And so we all sat down and worked out what we liked doing. And the one thing that kept coming back for me was writing. It's what I've always done.
I'd completely run out of money, so I needed to work. And I ended up working in a bank doing project work on a big merger between two big banks because it interested me. And I did. And this is where I am now.
Offices are very, very strange environments. It doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what the office does, you end up with exactly the same dynamic. And that in itself is sort of a little bit soul-destroying.
The work itself was just the worst type of work, and after my first 2 months there, I had been filling in this big sheet of paper. That's all I was doing. I was just filling in this sheet of paper with nameless, endless lines of bank payments and a typewriter. Gosh, a golf ball typewriter. That was like the pinnacle of typewriters. And I went to what I thought was the HR department. And I said that could I possibly have another job now, because I was a little bit bored with this. I was brought into the manager's office and I was told off, and I was told that I was in a horse race and that I had fallen at the first fence, and that I was then locked away in the telex room for 2 years until I sorted out my personality disorder. And that is a kind of a theme, to be fair, that has run through my entire life, working and personal.
But after a while, it's the monotony of it and the really petty jealousies in the office and seeing the same people day after day after day, and your day forms exactly the same routine, and you all go for coffee at the same time and you see the same people sitting around the table having the same biscuits. And eventually I just felt trapped.
Do I look forward to work? Never. Never. I'm brushing my teeth and I'm thinking, now, Ruth, come on, it'll be okay, you'll manage. And you know what? It's not like I feel sick in the mornings going in, or it's not like, the days are that dreadful. I just think I'm 53. I've been doing this for 35 years in something that doesn't fulfill me, but it has a purpose and it serves a purpose.
I'd always been sort of really, really punctilious and precise on sort of doing things properly. 3.5 years working in offices, I perfected the fuck it attitude.
Sometimes it's satisfying, sometimes it's fulfilling, because you're solving problems all the time. You're creating something that wasn't there before. So sometimes you feel fulfilled, and other times you feel, what am I doing this for? Like you're creating something that maybe shouldn't exist in the first place. So it's, I don't know, it can be very frustrating, but yeah, it depends. It depends on the project. It depends on kind of the day, the week. It's difficult to say it fulfills or it doesn't. Does any one thing fulfill you? Truly.
Furious. Absolutely and utterly furious. I haven't taken myself into consideration enough, probably. I haven't fulfilled my own needs enough, and it makes me very angry that I've been at this for 35 years and I'm unfulfilled. So yes, I am angry with myself. Yeah.
The idea of when I was younger, even in my early 20s, of being in the same job for 45 years and then retiring, and then waking up one morning when I'm like 85 with a nappy would terrify me, absolutely terrify me. So, if you don't like what you're doing, change it, because nobody else is going to do it. That's it, really.
I'd like to just come back as me and redo it. I don't even know what I think I would redo, but I would redo a few things, I think. I wouldn't have fallen at the first hurdle anyway. The next time round, I'll make it to hurdle number 2 or 3.
Ideally, I want to write. That hasn't changed. Ideally, I would like to have a little cottage somewhere with a garden where I could grow vegetables and keep bees, and I could just be a writer. Whether or not that's ever going to be a practical possibility, probably no more than it was when I was 18, 19. But it's still, that's always going to be the dream. It's always going to be the dream.